as a dad, it's important to be strong and fit. But at the same time, if your low back and hips are so sore and tight that you can't play with your kids, then you may be missing half the point. This morning, we are fixing that with 20 minutes of active mobility for the low back and hips. It's going to leave you feeling looser and better so that you can train and play with your kids. But this is more than just a workout. We're here every day, and the 5 a.m. Squat Club is a group of people who get together to move their fitness together and their lives together before their kids wake up so they can ensure that it happens every day. I'm Adam. I've been coaching fitness for 25 years, and this is the program since becoming a father and a farmer that has got me back on track. This morning's active recovery. First step, we're going to prime our minds. This is the full morning routine. Let's do it. All right, team. First step, as it is every day on the 5 a.m. Squat Club, is to get into a squat. So feet go on the ground underneath the hips, heels are on the floor, and if you feel like you're going to fall over backwards, go ahead and grab something to hold on to out in front as a counterbalance. While we're here, we prime our mind. We choose our first thoughts today while we set our breath. So in terms of the breathing, follow the animation on the right there. 4 seconds in, 4 second hold, 4 seconds out, 4 second hold. Set the breathing. While we're there, mental reps. First one is I am responsible. Just means I'm going to take accountability for my life. So if I'm not happy with where I'm at, then I know that I'm the only one that can change that. So instead of complaining, take action. Next, I will make time between stimulus and response. And this is for the ones who are like me and, potentially impatient sometimes and potentially reactive that, when the kids are screaming and, potentially being challenging, or the dog is being challenging, or things are just not going your way, can you take a moment and recognize that all I can control is my response? I can't control what happens. All I can control is my response. And if I take a moment, I'm going to give a better version of my response instead of a snappy, reactive one. Next, I have all I need to succeed today, and will focus on progress over perfection. Just know that progress is perfection. If you move forward every day, then that's perfect. And know that you don't have to take one big step anytime. You just have to move forward. And that's really the way to make progress. Little steps every day consistently. And then the last one is I choose gratitude. I want to make sure that I'm at least in some way being appreciative of life and enjoying it at least a little bit while I'm striving to improve. Because if you're just working and things are just broken and need fixing, then it's too easy to get caught up in the negative. So see the positive, see the things that are good in your life, and you'll see more of them at the same time. All right, step one done. Let's move the body. So, team, every morning we start with the same thing, because consistency is routine, and routine makes everything easy. So what that looks like is just 2 minutes. We're just going to get ourselves down on the floor, fully down on the ground, and then get ourselves fully back up. And then we'll get a quick hop and clap overhead to celebrate the fact that we are able to do so. And we're going to go 2 minutes here, and this is just our initial priming the body, right? We're just starting up the heart rate a little bit, just getting a little bit of blood flowing through the body, getting the joints warmed up, getting the heart rate elevated. I think I said that already though. And we don't need to go crazy today, as we are just going to be in our active recovery / mobility day today. It's not going to be easy necessarily, but it's not going to be as high intensity as the rest of the week. So we'll get the body warmed up a little quicker than normal. And then we've got a fantastic 20-minute EMOM. It's going to leave your hips feeling like butter. So let's get her warmed up and chat or comments. Let me know, what time did you get to bed last night? Because that is a huge part of this program. Our goal here is to get up early before our kids, to work out and move our goals forward every day. But if we're getting to bed too late and then it becomes too hard to get up in the morning, we've lost it. So what time do you get to bed? And you could go with how are we feeling this morning, but that bedtime is crucial. So I was in bed 8:45-ish last night, And that's really the sweet spot for me. Any time between 8:30 and 9 is the goal. I get up at 4:30. So it's right in that 7.5 to 8 hour mark, which seems to be manageable. You might need more or less, but either way, a nighttime routine is necessary, a bedtime is necessary to maintain consistency with getting up early. Woo! All right. We're gonna talk briefly about this workout here. Call it a workout, call it just a mobility session. Good morning, Jody, equipment, Terry. So, real quick, we're gonna brief this again in a minute anyways, so take a quick peek. What we've got is 5 different movements, well, I guess 6 if you include the Paleo Squat. And we're just gonna alternate between one of the movements and then the Paleo Squat for 20 minutes. Meaning, we're gonna spend 10 minutes total in that Paleo Squat position. The only thing I really want you to think about here before we start is if you need it, have a counterbalance for that Paleo Squat. So have something ready so that if you find this position uncomfortable, like you're gonna fall backwards, grab yourself a counterbalance. Otherwise, you don't really need any gear. I would set up a mat, something soft that you can be on, as we will be down on the floor a good deal here. So let's grab a sip of water. We'll do a quick brief, and then we'll do it. No crazy big warm up today. All right. Some music on this. If you're a dad who's been training, but you're feeling pretty stiff in the low back and the hips, then you can't neglect that. This morning, we've got a 20-minute EMOM that's gonna leave your hips feeling like you're 20 years younger. Let's get after it. So, as you can see there on the screen on the right, on the left side there, what we've got this morning is EMOM every minute on the minute for 20 minutes. And if you read through that on the screen, we've got, in essence, 6 movements. What it's gonna look like is we're gonna do one of our low body movements, and then we're gonna go Paleo Squat. Another movement, Paleo Squat. So there's 5 different movements alternating with the Paleo Squat, 2 rounds. The only thing we're gonna brief first is that Paleo Squat. What we're looking for is feet more or less underneath the hips, and you're just gonna sit down all the way into a passive squat. Heels stay on the ground, and the goal here is to maintain your arches on the floor. And if you feel like you're gonna fall over backwards, just have a counterbalance by your side so that you can hold on to that. We will accumulate at least 10 minutes in this position, so if you find it tight, have something to hang on to. All right, otherwise you just need some space on the floor, maybe a mat to sit on, something soft-ish, and we're doing this. So make sure you got some water, make sure you got some space, and we're gonna go 20 minutes, 1 minute each. Beauty. All right, so the first one, we're sitting on the floor, cross-legged into butterfly. 10 seconds. Let's do this. That's the wrong one. Okay, sitting on your butt. My bad, I wasn't ready there. We're gonna go feet together. If you need to, you can put something underneath your butt, like a little a mat or oh my goodness, a book or a bumper plate or something, but you're just trying to sit nice and upright, feet together. You can press down. Maple, you're making this real tough for people to see. You can press down on the knees with the elbows. Stop. Or you could even take 2 dumbbells and press down on the knees. So another 30 seconds. Please stop, dog. Please stop. Sitting nice and tall. She's gonna be irritating. Working yourself with the chest forward and the torso upright. Stop. Just go away. Please go away. All right, hopefully you don't have the same challenge as I do. 10 seconds, we're gonna come to our Paleo Squat. So we're just easing into this. Sorry about that intro, we didn't have the music set. 3, 2, 1. All right, second one. So feet underneath the hips, heels on the ground, knees in line with the feet, maintaining those arches. Once again, if you need to hold on to a counterbalance, Go for it. Turn up our little active recovery tunes here. Okay, and we're just hanging out and breathing. You can think about, if you feel tight in this position, the positions we're going to be in today are not bodybuilding positions, they're not exercise positions, they're real life positions. You'll notice that if you go out to a number of countries in the East, that this is how they sit. I'm sure I've mentioned before that I was in Israel a number of years ago, and I remember walking through a market, and I had to go to the bathroom, and I went to the where the bathroom was, and I walked by the stalls, and there's just a hole in the ground. It's just a porcelain hole. There's no next one. Runner's lunge. So get yourself into a long lunge position, back knee is on the ground. We're gonna stay on this side the whole minute, and then next round we'll get in the other side. So you can think about squeezing the butt cheek on that right side, pushing the hips forwards. What you could do is bring the chest up, just make sure the abs are on tight so that we're not arching. But you're just looking for a good pull in that back hip flexor, meaning the front of the back leg. And just breathing through this the whole time, thinking about nice, long, deep breaths. I might talk a little bit, but slow down the breathing. Big, long, deep breaths. And on the exhales, you're trying to sink a little bit. Trying to get a little bit further into each one. So another 12 seconds here, and then we're coming back to our Paleo Squat, which might feel a little uneven since we just spent the minute on this side. 3, 2, 1. All right, come on back in. Oh yeah, feels a little looser on one side. So back into that Paleo Squat position. Heels on the ground, maintaining the arch, knees in line with the feet. Once again, counterbalance if you need. But as I was saying, I walked by this bathroom in the Middle East, and you walk by the stalls and there's just a porcelain hole in the floor. There is no seat, there is no toilet like we use in North America, because this is the position that you are most efficient at evacuating and clearing out the bowels. So if this position is not accessible to you, I would say, at least in my personal opinion, that this is necessary. This is an important position at my gym that I own. This is how we start every class. We sit in a circle and we learn about each other a little bit. But it's a position that opens up the hips very well, but also is natural to our humanity. And like if you're gonna poop in the woods or something, like this is it. All right, switching up, 3, 2, 1, Cossack. So nice wide stance here. If you need, grab your counterbalance as well. Hold it out in front. And we're squatting side to side. So down on one, trying to get the hip below the knee. And then switch it up. That other side, the toe can come off the ground, but keep the heel down on the squatting side. You can go side to side. You could just hang out on one side, but this side is rough for me. If you feel like you can't get low, grab a counterbalance and hold it out in front. Remember, there'll be a second round of this, so if you feel like, wow, I don't know what I'm doing, you'll ease in, you'll work it out, improve as we go. 3, 2, 1. Come on back to the middle. Back to our Paleo Squat. Whew, what's next? Next one is easy. Well, I guess it depends on how tight you are. So once again, just in our Paleo Squat, focusing on the breathing, right? If you find this easy, focus on the breath. If you find it hard, focus on the breath. Try to minimize the sensation of wanting to get out of there. Holy dog, you are shedding and you're covered in like mud or something. It's a dirty dog. What is that? Oh, it's burrs. We live on a farm here, if you don't know yet, if you're new here. So this dog just goes crazy out there, running around through the fields, getting covered in stuff. She sure does. Okay? 10 seconds, and we're coming to a kneeling position. So we're gonna sit on our shins, just like a Japanese sit. I'm gonna give you 2 different options, 3, 2, 1. So just sitting on the shins, excuse me, Maple. Either top of the feet on the floor, or come up to the toes, bend the toes underneath you, and just sit like that. I would choose, to be honest, the one that's most uncomfortable, because that's when you're going to get the most benefit from. I personally do not mind either one of these. So this one, you're going to get a little more toe stretch, a little more ankle dorsiflexion, versus this one, you might feel a little bit more in the shins. I might even lean it back, get a little bit of quad in here. You might feel a lot in the quads, either quads or ankles, depending on who you are. If you feel nothing, feel free to walk it back a little bit, like I'm doing, just to get a little more quad. 10 seconds, we're back to our Paleo Squat. 5, 3, 2, 1. All right, we're back into the Paleo Squat. And then our last one is going to be a standing pancake, which might we might turn into a straddle good morning, depending on kind of how you feel. But that one will be a nice wide stance, kind of like the Cossack Squat, and then hinging at the hips with a neutral spine will be the goal. So if you're tight in the hamstrings, what you might want to do is grab a dumbbell or something and stand it up in front of you so that you can support your hands on it as you hinge over. So another 20 seconds in the Paleo Squat. Hopefully, this is giving you a little bit of laxity in the hips and letting you loosen up a little bit. Hopefully it feels a little bit tight, and by the end, you feel a little better. 10 seconds. We're coming up into our standing pancake / staggered or wide good morning. Sorry. So go ahead and take the feet out nice and wide. And then what you can do is either hinge over as far as you can with a neutral spine and just hang out there, right? Notice I'm supported on this dumbbell a little bit just to make sure that I can hinge over with the neutral spine. No. And then if you want more, turn that into a good morning. So stand and then hinge, making sure we're a neutral spine. Stand, hinge. So either just hanging out in this standing pancake or moving up and down through the good morning with this real wide stance, opening up the groin. Find a lot of tension on one side here like I do in the Cossack Squat. All right, back to the Paleo Squat in 3, 2, 1. And this will be the last one of this first round. So we're gonna go through a second round of this afterwards, back to what was the first one? The butterfly after this one. So I know this workout doesn't seem sexy, right? It's not intense. We're just spending time down in the squat and opening up the hips. But this is the type of thing that if you neglect, you hit a wall, right? The body gets stiff and injured or sore and you need to take time off. Whereas if you maintain, whereas if you maintain healthy range of motion in your joints, which is what we're doing here, then you're able to train harder, longer, and more effectively because you're pushing hard in better positions. So round 1 coming to a close here. We're coming to the butterfly. 3, 2, 1. Go ahead. So back on your butt. And you can wiggle if you want side to side to get the little smushy bits of the butt out of the way. And then you can pull up on the feet and pull up on the chest. Trying to get a nice upright torso. You can even push those knees down and then relax. Push the knees down and relax. 5 on, 5 off, another 30 seconds. Really fighting for that upright torso, proud chest. Maple, you don't need to destroy that toilet paper roll. Keep breathing, nice long deep breaths, pushing those knees down. And notice here, my right foot's bigger than my left. 10 seconds. We're coming back to our Paleo Squat. Oh, the groin is tight. All right, and back up to Paleo Squat again. Hips are feeling pretty good. We'll do a little test at the end. We'll get up and move around and see how those hips feel. My guess, my assumption is that they are going to feel fantastic. Hey, Mabel Dog, you're eating that thing now, eh? Sheesh. So, don't neglect your mobility. And I mean, I guess if you're someone out there who just does mobility and who neglects their strength work, don't neglect your strength work either. Consider joining us every morning in the 5 a.m. Squat Club, where every day we get up before the sun, although in the summer the sun will start getting up a little bit earlier. And we move our bodies and we move our minds so that we're not, following life. We're creating it. All right, 2, 1, Cossack, runner's lunge. Okay, so other side on the runner's lunge, whichever side you did last time, switch it up. Back knee on the ground, send those hips forwards. You're gonna feel that in the hip flexor on the back leg. Thank you for the reactions, team. You can think about squeezing the butt on that back leg side to push the hips forwards a little bit. And then just slowly breathing through it. Trying to sink a little bit on the exhale. Oh, that's pulling. Try to stay with it even if it's uncomfortable. Oh, that's tight. 10 seconds. And then we're coming back to Paleo Squat. Wow, that's really uncomfortable. 3, 2, 1. Get back in. Heels down. And just breathe. Maple, you're making a big mess with that thing. If you want a little bit more out of the Paleo Squat, if this is just too easy and you want a little bit more, what you could do is take the arms out in front, come up to an active squat for a sec, come back down. Come up to an active squat, pull that chest up, come back down. And just do some reps of that, turning it into an active versus a passive movement. Feel free. Otherwise, we're just breathing. Excuse me. Nice and easy. Thinking about how we're going to do our homework after this. Even if it's active recovery day, we take action. 3, 2, Cossack Squat. Go for it. That's right, eh? That's the next one. Cossack, yeah. So trying to keep that squatting heel down. Oh, just got a little pop there. Alternating sides. Breathe. Maple, you don't need to do that. Another 30 seconds. Whoa, this is the hard one for me for sure. Feeling pretty good though this morning. Come on, hamstring. 15 seconds. Stay with it. Oh, there it is. It's tight. 3, 2, 1, and back to our squat. Woo! Those hips are gonna love it afterwards. What's next? Cossack, Paleo, Seiza. Yeah. So next one after this, we'll be back on our kneeling position. It's this type of day that, depending on how you feel here, I guess, it can be tempting to look at this and say, well, this isn't enough. I'm gonna go do a workout afterwards. And that's not the end of the world. I would just suggest to keep it easy, right? Keep the propensity for body soreness the next day down. So I would try to keep the volume relatively low, maybe a little less intensity, so that we're still keeping this as an active recovery day. All right, back on the shins in 5, 3, 2, 1. So just sitting on the shins, Once again, you can go top of the feet flat on the floor, or spread the toes and put the weight on the toes, bending them backwards. Once again, find the one that is uncomfortable for you and get in there. It might feel like the toes are ripping off. If so, fantastic. That's probably what you need. If you feel nothing in that position, go to the shins. And if you feel a good deal in the ankles, then that's perfect. Try to breathe through it. Just think about, these are positions that you would spend time playing with your kids on the floor in. And if you can't get into those positions, like, are you a stiff old person, or are you just neglecting this mobility? And even if you are a stiff old person, that's not a death sentence. That is fixable. That is figure-outable. All right, we're coming back to our Paleo Squat. 3, 2, 1. Go for it. Nice and relaxed. Once again, if you want to make it a little more active, you can alternate between this passive position and an active squat. If you wanted to make it extra fun, you could always try to take a leg out, keeping that heel off the ground, and switching that position, alternating that leg. But this is a little bit more than active recovery. Standing pancake last. We're almost there, team. 18. Give it a go if you feel pretty good in that Paleo Squat position. Take a leg out. It's not easy though. Requires a good deal of balance and flexibility, but something that you can work towards as well, right? This is all improvable stuff. 10 seconds. Be back to our standing pancake, or what do you call it? Straddle good mornings. 3, 2, 1. So nice wide stance, nice neutral spine. You can work yourself down. I feel like I'm lower than last time already. So what you may notice here is that over the course of this 20 minutes, your hips have loosened up a little bit, inner thighs have loosened up, and you may be able to get further into this position, which I definitely am right now. Well, that's not neutral. Once again, you can just hang out here in this forward fold, call it standing pancake, or turn it into some good mornings. Stand tall, squeeze the butt. Not tall, I guess, and then hinge back over. Stand tall, squeeze the butt. Kind of hard to squeeze the butt in that wide stance. It's interesting. Hey. Couple more, and then we got one more Paleo Squat. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. There we are. Last one. So just slow down the breathing. If you can take it in the nose, out the mouth. Another 20 seconds. Thinking about just giving some extra love to your body and your hips this morning. Just nice and easy. You can do a little side to side here. 5, 3, 2, 1. And there it is. So that's our 20-minute hip, low back opener that, you know, if you do once a week, will make your hips feel a whole lot happier and allow you to keep training harder during the week. So this is our active recovery day. Once a week we move a little bit, call it softer on the body. The rest of the week we push the intensity to make sure that our fitness is improving. But if you want more afterwards, we move our lives together with action on our goals. So join us on the live stream every day. Have yourselves a fantastic one. Love you guys. All right, team. What are we saying here? Well, we'll just do a pistol. All right. Well, we're gonna get a quick stretch here, even though we just did. Okay. So let's get what do we need here? Well, we don't really need a stretch, so why don't we just sit cross-legged and we'll just take a moment to debrief, maybe just talk about our homework. So, we do this once a week where we try to take it down a little bit and not crush ourselves, and that's going to give us longevity, ideally, right? It's going to allow us to keep training without having to take time off, because when you take time off, it's easy to fall off. And, we speak about this every day, that the exercise is only a component of the routine anyways. It's really the step before the action on our goals, right? So that I want to make sure that both steps are being completed. I'm doing my fitness, but then at the same time, I'm taking that hour afterwards. And we're nice and early today, since we were efficient with our active recovery, that it's only 5:32. So I can take this from 5:32 to 6:32 and I can do an hour of work on my goals. Whether it is becoming, I spoke to one of our newer members. He wants to become a musician. So an hour of practice on your instrument or on your craft. Or it could be, hey, I want to start a new business, and it's an hour of work on that business. It could be, I want to learn a new language, and it's going to be an hour of practice on that language. Whatever it is, the thing that is missing in your life that you're going to look back on and say, damn, I should have done that. That's the thing I was passionate about, but I didn't take action on it. Do that. If you do an hour every day, you will be amazed at where you will end up, especially if you're doing nothing on it now. All right, so example. Uh-oh, there's no video on there. Let me see. Sorry, here it is. So this is just a quick clip of some sheep. I think we are pretty much through our lambing here. I think we got 35. So just over doubling the flock. We went from 32 sheep to 67. Obviously, not all those are going to stay. Some of them will go in the freezer at the end of the year. But this is just one of those examples of if you want something from your life, make it happen. And you may have no desire to have livestock and raise your own food or move to the country and become self-sustainable, whatever. But whatever your dream is, whatever your goal is, it's realistic, it's actionable if you take action, right? We did not start out as farmers. My wife and I lived in the city. I'm a fitness coach and she's a naturopath, and we had no experience with farming or livestock or agriculture or anything. But we figured that, hey, this food system is broken. And it doesn't matter what your reason is, but once you determine that something is important to you, take action. So, we made that decision that we were going to raise our food, and we didn't sit around and say, hey, someday I want to do this, which is what most people do. We say, oh yeah, I want to do that someday, or I'm going to do that someday. Someday does not exist. Take action every day, and that's how you're going to get to those goals. So whatever it is that you're aiming for, just take an hour afterwards. Join us every morning, and then those hours pile up together. Okay, team, we got just the OGs, the the keeners here this morning. Special shout out to Jody and Equipment and Mr. Terry. You guys have been fantastic. But shout out to team members, Jason, Ryan, Yaroslav, Adam, and who am I thinking of right now? Christy. Is that a tick on your face? Oh my gosh. You guys have yourselves a fantastic day. We'll be back tomorrow for much higher intensity. Love you guys. Go do your homework and have yourselves a fantastic day. Hit that like button. Peace.